Yeah, none of it went into the grass at all.
Welcome to Full Speed Impulse, where dreams are made and usually broken.
Alright guys, what is up? Today we are working on the LTR. Now, take this as you will, but this is a very late night video. So, that's pretty much all I could say, but it's a late night video. We are working on, as far as the exhaust part, because we got a trip to the dunes, and we are rocking a stock exhaust on this thing. So we do not have the insert because it did not come with the insert when we bought this exhaust. So we need to make a spark arrestor. Now, just to specify, this is not meant to maybe last. It may last, it may not. But this is meant to get us through the gate. And as I kind of specified, this is to go out in the dunes, so it's not a very high risk forest fire area. So maybe if you're more in an area that this is more a risk, then I'd maybe not recommend this method. But as far as if you're looking for something to maybe just get you by, this is going to be the way to go. So one of the things we did was we went on Amazon because we're short on time. Is we just bought the screen. So this is a legit spark arrestor screen. So another method you can go that I've actually done before is you get those little drains in your sink, and you can actually use those for spark arrestors, and they actually hold up pretty well. So obviously we're customizing here, and what I mean by it being a late night and all that, I'm not gonna again specify, but it might show you my handiwork this late at night. Is that we made 2 rings here, and what you have to do start out here, you got to get your cap off. So your 2 side bolts here are really easy to get off, but your top one you're gonna have a hard time getting to. So you're gonna want to take this off first, and then it's gonna allow you to get to that 3rd one on top. So once that off, you take the cap off. You're gonna have these 2 bolts here still hopefully chilling. If not, just get two new bolts. It's not a big deal, and you're gonna take those out. So then what we did, we took 1/8 inch steel, and we kind of, actually, we used a, which is a no bueno, is we used a wood hole saw bit to drill these holes. And it actually worked out pretty decent. I've done it before, and that's with that same bit. So it's actually held up pretty decent, and it still looks good. But it's not preferred to do that method. I'm sure get actually a blade that's meant to cut metal, but regardless, that's what we did. And then we just used the cutting wheel real quick to cut this up to fit in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use these 2 pieces here, sandwich our screen in between, and then we're going to bolt it back on together. And that'll be enough for us to put it through the gate. Oopsies. And then go out in the dunes and have fun. We got extra screens, so get back, fill up, and it's blown out. It's not a big deal. We'll just put a new one in real quick, and we'll pass through the gate, pass again, and continue to have fun. Again, there's no it's all sand out there, but because it is a state park, they do require a spark arrestor, so that's the kind of position we're in right now. And I mean, this thing's tuned in good, so it's not like we're blowing flames out anyways. But regardless, again, if you're in a very high risk area, it might be the better way to go with a legit spark arrestor, and maybe still use the same setup or design that we're doing and use that. But again, since we're in a pinch, this is the way we're going. The only reason I don't know if this is going to hold up as well is because when you get your actual spark arrestor, you'll see that they're actually tack welded in a little bit, but that could also be the way that they're cone shaped. This one's just going to be flat, so we're going to use these 2 pieces of metal to kind of sandwich it in, and hopefully that works. So we're going to get this set up a little bit, and we will give it a few revs tonight just to make sure it doesn't blow out instantly. And then actually in the comments, I will leave a little feedback, since we're going to be heading to the dunes in a week here. Maybe possibly closer when you see this video. And I'll leave a comment saying, oh, it held up, or no, we had to replace it every time. So yeah, this is our way of getting a spark arrestor and a stock exhaust. So I'm going to get this button up right here, and I'm going to show you guys the after video of it or whatever, and then you guys could judge from there what you guys want to do. We do have, alright guys, we got our spark arrestor on here, and I have 2 tips for you guys. Is one, when you're putting the screen on, what I did to get actually holes in the screen is I used like a pick to punch the hole, and then I used the actual drill bit that did the holes in the steel here to I did the drill really slow and had success on the first hole, and then I got a little rambunctious, and I gassed it a little bit too hard, and I ended up tearing. I didn't tear the screen, but I wadded it up, so I was able to straighten it out and still use it. But the key is when you're doing the holes, make sure you still have the screen kind of backed with your metal plate, so that way it gives it a little bit of support, and to go very, very slow, and to try to kind of just push through. So we got our hole in our screen. I'm sure there's other ways you could do it, but that's how we did it. And we are actually, another thing was making sure that this, it'd probably be good if we did a mock-up with cardboard and actually got our pieces exact, but we didn't. So once it was on there, we ended up starting to grind and grind till it finally got our end cap on. And it's probably not necessary, but we got a little, it doesn't look good. I'm just telling you that now. But we got a little rambunctious again, and we ended up starting to hack at this thing to try to get that on. And it wasn't necessary. The big thing it looked like where we were hitting was actually the sides. It looks like those have to be really on point on being thin here. So I would just recommend, as far as when you do your holes here, don't be shy when you're cutting and make sure that they're extra close. So we ended up grinding while it was on the pipe here. Did that, and then we swapped it around, and then we grind again, and till it finally, this cap would go on. So it looks ugly because I'm showing you guys like this, but obviously there's no damage on this side, and you'll never know. And you guys know the game. When it comes to riding, we'll do what we got to do. You know what I mean? So other part of this too is that we have another exhaust for it. This is just like stock exhaust, so this is just pretty much doing what we got to do to get on the dunes next week. And because of everything that's going on right now, even getting a actual spark arrestor, not even for this exhaust, because I couldn't even find, I would have spent 50, 60 bucks for just a stock setup on this to get me by, but I couldn't even find that. So even just a spark arrestor that would have still had to make something for this to work, it would have been here by Wednesday or Thursday, and that was me ordering. So everything's like a week out right now. So that was kind of no bueno for us, because then we would have been making something like this at the last minute, and I wouldn't be put in that position. So that's why we went with the screen, which we were able to get from Amazon, and get a day shipping, no problem. So that's what we're doing here. And honestly, I have faith in this setup here. It seems like it's actually going to hold pretty good. We're going to get our end cap on, and I'm going to show you guys the finishing touch, and then we're going to give it a few revs, and then we're going to call it a success. And like I said in the comments, I'll let you guys know how it worked out for the week. Alright guys, so that is our spark arrestor and our stock LTR450 exhaust. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I did end up taking this taillight off and swiveling it down, not just to disconnect it, because you can't pull it all the way out. Because I was having an issue positioning this top screw, which doesn't mean that you have to take this off. I have just learned, and all the time working on stuff, it's easier to just get whatever's in your way out of the way instead of trying to work in some tighter angles. Doesn't mean that this has to come off, so someone else that does this after me might be able to do it easier than me. Could also be because of our plate in there, as far as it might not be, everything might not be mocked up 100% perfect. The other thing I would recommend is I did use red Loctite on the screws on the inside, just not the outside. And because this is spaced out a little bit more, why we only used 1/8 inch steel, I would not go crazy on over tightening these here. I would just make sure that they are a smudge past snug, and maybe use a little Loctite on those maybe. But just because that these are just, it seems like they're not the most, something you shouldn't crank down on as far as how these are welded in here. Seems like they could be brittle. I could be wrong. It's just a warning. So we're going to set up our little tripod here. Get the quad a little rev. and hopefully it doesn't blow the screen out. So there's a good position for you guys. Here we go. Alright, it seems to be fine. You can see it pushed out a little bit, but that's just probably it flexing out a little bit. So I'm not too concerned about that yet. But again, I'm not going to be running it hard. I'm going to idle it up to the gate. They're going to do my spark arrestor test. And then I'm going to go out in the dunes and have fun. So like I said, if it blows out, it's not a big deal. I'll just make sure I have my little drill bit and my pick with me. I got extra sheets. They actually give you a decent amount, so I can make possibly up to 3 more. So definitely at least 1 more. So that'll be more than enough for out there. But I have a feeling it's gonna hold up. So I got faith in it. But cutting this thing short, I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely follow me for more LTR stuff. You know, you see we do a lot more cozy coupe, Jeep, and we do pit biking and all that. Just do a lot of fun content. So just kind of sharing what I do with you guys. So I appreciate you guys following. Make sure you hit us on Instagram, because we definitely do live footage, and we do have a TikTok also that we do some live footage on. And we got a trip coming up here in a few weeks, going down to Haspin Acres, where it is just a lot of fun, and I'm gonna make sure I do a lot of live footage out there, so you guys are out there with us having fun also. So appreciate you guys watching. See you later.